Hey everyone, welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Forrest,
I'm Major.
I'm Robbie.
Matt,
and if you were expecting us to cover Doctor Who, Major's got us covered.
Guys, I haven't been this confused since college. Doctor Who season 14 has just come out. We're going to go over the news. We're going to go over X-Men, Tolerance's Extinction Part 2 and Part 3. But
Yep.
since I got thrown on the spot with Doctor Who,
What you texted me, I swear it just sounded like straight satire.
all right, so while I'm going to read off my
Is
little
it-
bit, Robbie, do you want to pull up the text message I sent you? Doctor Who season 14 has received a perfect score on Rotten Tomato. Now, it initially got a flat 100.
Perfect score
But
from the critics, I'm guessing.
from the critics, of course, it's just from the
Yeah.
critics, and then it dropped down to 96% overall from the critics, but still 100% for the top critics. Audience score was a 35%, much more realistic. We've talked about this before. Forrest doesn't like Rotten Tomatoes. He thinks IMDb is a much better metric. That's coming in at 5.9 out of 10. So let's go ahead and call that
That sounds about
59%.
right.
I found your text that you sent
Dude.
me. Is
You want to read
It
it?
looks like
So the doctor is a gay black man. His sidekick is a white lesbian married to a black woman. Don't worry, they adopt first episode, and the main bad guy is a transgender woman. Bro, is this a trap? How do you even
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about this without getting canceled?
I need to make a slight correction. His sidekick isn't a lesbian. She was adopted by a strong black woman. And at the beginning of this episode, she's also adopting a black kid
Sounds
named
like a
Lulu
satire
Belly.
of
Or
someone
Lulu
would
Bell.
make.
I don't know if you guys heard about this. Metro UK, a popular news publication across the pond, they put out an article saying, "Sorry, white men, but Doctor Who was never meant for you."
I saw that.
Awkward. Like, dude, like that was Doctor Who's the longest running TV show of all time. It was funded by the BBC.
whoa. So a show started in Britain by the BBC is not for white people.
Not for white people.
Ooh.
According to this article, they had to shut down their Twitter account for like 48 hours. Like they just had to like lay low. They were like, "Oh, we
Well, I
got
heard they like
fucked up."
completely removed their Twitter account, or did they just?
No. They
shut it
they
down
removed
or,
it.
like-
They just got back on yesterday, right? They
Oh,
were just
they
like,
got
"Oh
it
yeah."
back,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
They were like, "Thank
Well-
God for this 24-hour news cycle." No, it's like guys, Zealots, we're here to remind you all about it, Metro UK.
just like the
Crazy.
doctor always says, she's female.
But here's what I want to say. Not every publication is the same. Over here in the States, Screen Rant put out an article called Doctor Who Season 14's opening scene is hard to watch if you're already a fan. And yeah, I got to say,
Ooh,
it
see a
was
screen rant.
it was 5 minutes in. We've all seen that meme, right? Where the doctor is dancing around in a nightclub and in a skirt. And then that music is playing. He's in the discoteco. The discoteco, I believe they call it. 5 minutes and 5 seconds in, they just could not wait. Even like one episode, they just like at the very beginning, they was like, "Hey guys, this is what we're gonna be doing this season, and we are going to be doing it very, very hard." But here's my thing as a fan. I'm not a fan. Sorry, this is the first episode I've ever seen of Doctor Who. Right? I want to ask you guys as
We'll
fans.
start.
Well, I was actually inspired. He had a previous YouTube short that did pretty well where I was talking and I asked Matt if he wanted to see a Doctor Who episode where the doctor defeated the bad guy by twerking. And we actually had one of our subscribers comment and say, "That actually sounds really interesting. That might be the first episode I watch." And I was like, you know what? For the fans, let me give this content a little taste. Like I was saying before when Robbie read out that tweet, 100% from the top critics, 35% from the audience, and 59% from IMDb. Depending on where you are, who you are in life, and walking into this first episode, I 100% agree with all three of those scores. If you need representation like it's going out of style, this is it for you. If you are a 65-year-old wanker who yells at Chelsea fans when they cross the street and haven't missed a single episode of Doctor Who, you probably had a heart attack and died. I apologize to your family. Yeah, you will be missed. You probably weren't being a subscriber according to our metrics, but I like to think you one day could have been.
I don't know a whole lot about Doctor Who. But where I learned more of like the background of the character with the Doctor was from Death Battle on YouTube. It was
Yeah.
between Doctor Who and Rick.
I'll have to check it out.
We'll
you
have
ever
to
see
do.
that?
I've never
the,
seen Death Battle.
Manchester- We'll
Oh,
do
you
Manchester
what?
United.
No,
Not at all.
is that
None
like
of the death battles on YouTube?
is that like rap battles of history?
Epic rap battle. Epic rap battle is what he means.
Oh
No,
no, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking about epic rap battles.
Okay, because
It's called
everyone
death
knows
battle.
we all grew
Oh.
up. We all grew up on the
You
epic
haven't
rap
seen
battle.
it.
But there was
Yeah,
an
they
epic
have
rap
all
battle
kinds of
between Doctor
characters
Who.
They have all kinds of characters from different shows.
Death
and
battle.
They would,
Who
All
and
right.
Harry
they'll
Potter.
break down all the details of all their skills and stuff that they've shown through the show.
Nice. Let's go.
And
All right.
they'll at the end of after describing each character, they'll even animate a battle scene between the two
This
characters.
is what I'll do. I'll search
Kinda
Death
cool.
Battle, Batman versus Superman, and based on their answers, how I'll rate the entire channel.
We're gonna have to do the Manchester
they-
United chant
they
every
have-
episode to get the 65-year-old Manchester fans.
I went to their most popular ones.
Yeah, see that Manchester
Their most,
flag?
their most popular one is
Yeah,
Superman
no, do the
versus
chant.
Goku.
Ian. What's next, Major?
So really quick, just to kind of finish the thought process here, as an actual Doctor Who fan, I am all for representation. I am
Absolutely.
the idea that he can change, like it's not even a he, it's, he is the Doctor.
It's a male presenting Time Lord.
No. So I don't mind representing, different ideas, beliefs, cultures, whatever. But then there's like representation for representation's, purpose. And I call it like kind of the checklist where you have to like hit every single box,
It's 100%.
just to say that you're representing.
Get as many as they can so they could brag about it.
Or how about this? Where's
that
your
just sounds
representation,
dated.
Matt? You love
Yeah.
Doctor Who. When Robbie was listing off those characters, did I ever talk about a white guy? Where is your representation? Where is England's
exactly.
representation?
I'm not even concerned about that, but I feel it's not to be jaded, but I feel like when you do something in this manner, you're not actually
They don't actually
getting people
care.
to understand, because people just immediately shut out. And you look at the score from critics to regular people who are watching this, you're just trying to throw something out there and be like, enjoy it without enjoying it. It's sad, quite frankly. There's better ways to do it. For instance, I loved Idris Elba as Heimdall.
Yeah.
And I remember people freaked the hell out about that. And it's like, no, this is perfect person to cast for this character.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. There's a show my kids watch, which I suggest any parent to watch, Craig of the Creek. A lot of representation from different beliefs, cultures, ideas, but it's done in a right way. It's not done in this kind of like checklist fashion. Like kind of this like, if you're not on board with our checklist, then you're part of the problem. And it's like, I don't want to be
That's the Disney
dictated to. I
approach.
want to be entertained. It's the Eric Cartman in that episode where he talks about what's her name. We need to have another character, and they need to be this and that.
Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah.
But
Throw
and then
chicken,
second point
make her
really quick.
lame.
Second point, I asked the people who are watching this: have you ever watched a movie or a show, really enjoyed it, and then logged on to Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb
Yeah.
and seen it
and
was like
see
a
the
piece of
score.
shit? You're like, wait, do I hate it now too? Like, does
That's what I
IMDb
thought
or
was-
Rotten Tomatoes influence you?
No one would ever admit to that. I understand what you're
Especially-
asking, but here's my question. 'Cause I'll say this, though. I understand exactly what you're asking. It's a great question. Something the fans, well, we're all anonymous online. Go ahead and comment down below if you've got the balls, but go ahead and just ask yourself that question, because it's an excellent question when Matt asked. Because there have been times where I had opinions on a television show, and then I go to listen to like my favorite podcaster talk about it. And then I walk away from the podcast with a different opinion. Now, did my opinion change because they brought up great points I didn't think about? Or did my opinion change because I'm fanboying over a person I've never met before who has millions of subscribers and has one opinion on the movie that's different than mine? I think that's hard to answer I know the answer for myself. I think it's hard to answer for like a general individual, but I think if you keep asking yourself that question over and over and over again, you yourself can determine a pattern, and then that'll help you appreciate your media bias. Is that what you're saying, Matt?
Yeah, because there's 100% times where I've watched a movie, really, really either loathed it or loved it, and then gone online and then read the reviews. And part of it is maybe I just didn't get it. and then I read the reviews. I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with this, or I see where they did this incorrectly. But at the end of the day, like with my initial opinion, I enjoyed this movie. Why do I let other people influence whether or not I
Yeah.
enjoy it?
Matt,
Absolutely.
I love you. I think you're not digging hard enough. You need to find the opinions online that match yours, and then those are the comments that you read, and those are the reviews that you respect. And all those other guys online don't appreciate Zack Snyder the way you and I do. I understand completely, Matt.
I think I enjoyed those movies like on first watch. And I went online and like everyone seemed to hate them.
I'm a huge fan of MST3K.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just love these stupid movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there's no reason behind it. Like it's just a stupid movie, and I have to like watch it over and over again. I've
Throw some
watched
funny
Grandma's
commentary
Boy
in there, though.
a million times. Grandma's Boy.
Yes.
Anytime it's on TBS, I have to watch
That
it
is
all
a
the
good
way through.
movie.
It is a dumb movie, but
It's
I
so
love it.
funny.
Guess
And,
what's on
you know,
Netflix? We
Oh,
gotta
Madam
do- we gotta
Web.
do-
Yep.
we gotta do
Hey
Grip
guys,
Watch.
we're gonna cover it. Comment down below when you want us to. Hopefully the answer is never, but we definitely will. I'd much rather be
Netflix-
covering the roast of Tom Brady, which is the funniest thing I've seen in one sitting
yeah.
since the
Because-
roast of Justin Bieber.
Because we love sports on Zeitgeist Zealots.
I love comedy.
The guy who's always doing the roasts. Who's
Jeff
the roast
Ross.
master?
Jeff Ross.
Jeff Ross, yeah.
He was
They
good,
didn't have
but
to, like-
Nikki Glazer stole the show. If anyone's like, women aren't funny, false. Not true. Show her this one clip of this one time one woman was funny. It's called a proof by contradiction. All you gotta do is prove the example is not true one time and the argument's gone. Nikki Glazer, the best part of the night. I thought Andrew Schultz was gonna steal the show. Tony was fantastic. Dana was upset. Ben Affleck was weird. I love to just watch Ben Affleck's clip with you.
Did
He
do
was
the Dunkin' Donuts dance.
no, he was angry. He came out. He might have taken too much coke before he came out there.
He should love Tom Brady.
He loves Tom Brady. What he was talking about is how amazing Tom Brady is, the GOAT, and you are a piece of shit. He talked about how one time Tom Brady handed him his phone, and Ben Affleck saw all the hate that Tom Brady was getting in the comments, and he was like, this tall boy Frank or whatever his name is was like, Tom Brady, you suck. And then, dude, Ben Affleck roasted tall boy Frank for maybe what felt like an hour. It was like 2 minutes, but like it was not great. If you want to watch
Ross-
that, I think he was just projecting about
So-
the hate he got over Batman.
Yeah. So I want to say something about Jeff Ross.
Go.
If you ever watched like the roast of Donald Trump, they had for some reason a situation as one of the roasters, and he was completely bombing, and Jeff Ross sort of went up and sort of rescued him. He was like, "They call you the situation." He like lifted his shirt up. He's all fat. He's like, "They called me the saturation."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So he saw the situation having a hard time. So he was like, "All right, I got to go up and help him out."
You know, speaking of saturation, are you guys ready for another Lord of the Rings movie?
Well, yeah, is it going to be the Gollum one or the Ring? Of
It's the
Rise of
Gollum
Sauron?
movie. Yeah, get disappointed.
yes.
Who wants a Gollum movie? How did the Gollum game was terrible? It looked like it was made
It's
for the
horrible.
PlayStation
was that
2.
even released? Was that even released?
It
or
was
it
released.
like-
It was
Oh.
released, and they actually charged
Oh.
$60
even-
for it.
Wow.
The
It was like one of the first
audacity.
PS5 games.
Yeah.
the reverse. It's sort of like the reverse of the Suicide Squad phenomenon. Like, shit movie comes out, they make a game about it, or in this case, shit game comes out and make a movie about it.
When-
It's just insane.
They're absolutely losing their mind. But so is Marvel, guys. Did you hear?
yeah. They're
We're
all-
about to
yeah.
we're going to we're about to break down
They're all
X-Men.
failing together.
I mean, yeah, they're tanking Amos on purpose. But guys, Doctor Strange 2, did you hear the actual budget? I cannot believe this. We were told all along by articles and leaks and whatnot that Doctor Strange 2, Mom, right, the Motherhood of Madness or whatever, was supposed to be a $200 million budget, right? And then there were reshoots, of course, are going to go a little bit extra. No, nay, $415 million budget.
All those reshoots for all those cameos. It's
That's
probably
like-
something for Deadpool and Wolverine.
I mean, that's
Um,
just an insurmountable
Think of
amount of
how
money
much
for how dumb that movie
Dude,
was.
we could be giving kids for that much money.
Yeah.
We could fund a whole free lunch program.
That's like 3 episodes of She-Hulk that we could be funding.
Oh gosh, please don't. There's a new casting for Fantastic Four. Was this part of your news sort of snippet for today?
Oh.
There's been like 3 new castings.
I did want to
Fantastic
talk
Four.
about how awful the Superman picture is from James
Oh
Gunn.
yeah, it looked like shit. Looks like something from the CW.
Looks
Actually,
worse than the CW. So
the guy
bad.
from the Superman and Lois show, his suit looks better than what we
So
saw.
good.
But like,
Yeah, he had wrinkles in it. Like it doesn't. It's not even form fitting. And like he's putting his boots on. Like what is he doing? Like Brainiac is attacking in the background. This guy's
yeah.
like taking a
Is
cigarette
it
break.
Brainiac? It could be
Dun
Warworld.
dun dun.
Casted him. It's the guy from the Green Knight movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ralph Ineson, but yeah, he has a great voice for Galactus. Everyone thought it was gonna be like Javier Bardem. Save Bardem for Apocalypse. That's what I say, or even Doom. I think he has a great voice for Doom. New castings: Ralph Ineson as Galactus.
Wow. Okay.
John Malkovich. John Malkovich is going to be in Fantastic Four.
I mean, in my defense, the Chantix I'm on to help me quit smoking gives me lucid dreaming, guys. If the X-Men movie I saw was fantastic. Never mind. I'm gonna try to send this image over to Marvel because we can do this.
So
He can look
use it,
cool
yeah.
in real life.
What's her name? Natasha Lyonne was cast today in Fantastic Four. Nobody knows who she's playing. Nobody knows who Malkovich is playing, but I think the popular theory is Puppet Master, and Natasha Lyonne's going to be his daughter, who dates the Thing. That's one. And I think they cast some dude, Paul Walter Hauser. I think he might possibly be playing Mole Man. Kind of like just doing what Marvel always does. They're overstuffing the movie, so they're gonna have like 10 villains. They're not like gonna have like any character arcs or personality because there's just too many of them.
There's just too much stuff. Too many.
Yeah,
people.
so like they have like 3 major villains right now: Galactus, Puppet Master, and Mole Man. That's the word on the street.
Wow.
And
the question is though, are they
And
going to be
time
able to pull
travel?
it off better than Rebel Moon with all their 10 characters that they introduced and then reintroduced in the second movie?
They could at least do that.
while
They could at
cutting
least do
grain.
that.
Well, that's where he messed up by reintroducing
Grain.
them.
Right. It's
Let
all
me
about the grain.
let's at the
The
end of the
grain
movie
must flow.
sit around a table and talk about our backstories once again.
And they all have the same backstory too, so it's so awkward when you think about it.
I forget what it was. It was like Honest Trailers, I think, did a great breakdown, which I loved, and it was literally like the
Honest
same
Trailers.
backstory, the same
Yeah,
backstory, the same backstory. But really quick, Ralph Ineson, love the actor. The Green Knight is one of the most absurd. I don't get the hype behind. Like I was so disappointed when I watched that movie.
Yeah.
Like I finished it and immediately went onto Google and typed in I don't get it to the Green Knight, and a lot of things popped up. Like it was
Yeah, I just
such a
watched the
weird
trailer.
effing movie.
I never understood the hype
It's
behind
not
it.
worth
He
it.
has a great. Well, I know Ralph Ineson from The Office, and you're like he never hung out with Steve Carell. The UK
Brady,
Office. He's from the
yeah.
original. He's from the original Office. He was basically playing the Todd Packer character in the old Office from 2001. So what else? I think he was also in what was it? He was in a movie. He was in Game of Thrones for a little bit.
So
I think.
he was
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones. He was in The Creator, which is a very underrated movie that I don't get why there isn't hype behind it.
Okay.
Harry Potter?
He was also in Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like a second.
So
he was
he does
I
these
think-
like cameos,
Yeah,
but he's been in a lot of.
He's a very commanding
He was
voice,
in
but I guess-
Willow.
I'm gonna skip that with a vengeance.
Right.
Oh yeah, I
You can't watch
read
Willow.
he actually sued Disney because he injured himself on the set of Willow, and he had to sue just to like pay for his medical bills, which is sort of like, shouldn't they be insured to begin with, or the fact that he had to sue just really kind of shows, you need another reason to hate Disney. Like actors have to sue
Yeah.
just to get just to pay for their medical bills when they're injured on the set of your show.
Aren't they? Or is that Disney's fault? I mean, aren't they in a union? Isn't that like the union's responsibility? Like
You would think that like
corporations
SAG,
are going to be cheap.
SAG-AFTRA
Yeah,
would
I mean-
have them covered.
yeah. Like
If
what
Disney
the
doesn't have enough
actual?
money to like someone gets injured on set, they should like have like a medical, or at least like a hospital buy, or like at least like a medical waiver or something.
Right.
Like you go in to get your your parking validated, they just give you a ticket to where you can like get your medical bills validated, and they'll pay for it on your way out.
That's just called insurance. Yeah, it's called getting it's having a job and an employer and getting insurance through your employer and then paying a
But you're injured
deductible.
on. Okay, I guess when you're an actor, you
Yeah,
gotta like.
I
have
mean,
your
there's
own
workers'
plan,
compensation. If you're
America,
injured
fuck
on the
yeah.
job.
Greatest country
That
in the
that's
motherfucking world, yeah.
let's not open up that can of worms. We'll have maybe we should. We'll get more commenters, you know.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like,
you know,
do we really
speaking
want to be the
of,
3 millionth? Do we really need to be the 3 millionth video on YouTube saying like how fucked up health insurance is?
yes, we
Um,
do. If we have a new insightful take on it, I do.
We don't.
Guys,
What
check
about
out
Darius as an
if you give a shit, check out the research that's being suppressed, whatever you want to call it, that you haven't heard about yet, about psychedelic mushrooms and PTSD that they're doing in Colorado. Pretty cool. Basically,
They did a
instead
study
of
with
giving all of our
vets.
veterans, yeah, exactly. Instead
They
of giving
curbed
all of
my
our
enthusiasm.
veterans opioids and hooking them up on pills and dulling their minds with lithium, right? It's like 2 sessions with a licensed therapist on shrooms, and like 85% of the symptoms are gone. And it's just a couple studies, right? But we need more studies. I don't know about more funding. I mean, they're fucking mushrooms, right? Just go fucking find them in the
So
forest.
wait,
But more studies.
Lithium is used to make semiconductors, right?
And it's also to make you compliant and complicit.
It's like the spice; it can do everything.
No, that's-
but
King
aren't
of
they mining?
lithium. No, I'm
Aren't they
kidding.
mining? Aren't they? What was that?
I was gonna try to do a stupid segue on lithium to X-Men '97.
We can do that.
Like, yeah,
Came out of my mouth, and I was like, "This is stupid."
Cable's arm, it sounds, is from lithium, but aren't they like mining cobalt now? Because that can be used in place of lithium.
They're
Is
mining
this some
cobalt and lithium, and by they, let's all be
The Congo.
really clear here, right? We're talking about 9-year-old children. We're talking about
Yeah,
women
yeah.
with babies strapped to their backs.
To power
This
your-
is
Yeah,
the
batteries,
S-word trade that we all are complicit with. So you can
I feel
have your
like
cell
we
phone,
need
and
a-
we can have this podcast. I apologize.
We need a warning for our viewers, like a sound or some like graphics for the ADD moment of the podcast, because we are definitely at that right now.
yeah, it's like there are blood diamonds and there are
ADD,
blood cell phones.
ADD,
Tangent
There are
attack,
blood
tangent
diamonds,
attack.
blood diamonds and blood cell phones.
Yo, can we
Blood,
talk about
lithium,
1
and cobalt
second
nodes.
how all these girls are like, save people, we care about the children, blah blah blah, we care about the animals, blah
Oh,
blah.
yeah, 'cause
but I
guys
still
don't-
want a blood diamond. Like, no, you can't just get I'm okay with lab meat, right? We can have synthetic soy boy meat, but I need a real blood diamond. No lab diamond that costs 1/10 of the price. Even though we can't afford anything because groceries have gone up 30%, rent's gone up 150% over the last 10 years. But sure, I still need my blood diamonds from Africa. That is, tell me why. And then tell me why we still have a pink tax. We had
Major.
Kamala Harris and Nancy we had Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi, the 2 and 3 women were 2 and 3 in the country, and we couldn't get rid of the pink tax. Why aren't tampons free? Sorry, go on. What were we saying?
You know who loves blood diamonds in the rings, Major? A little
I
guy
bet
by the name of
Sinister.
Sauron.
Oh, Sauron.
Sauron in the new
Oh,
Power trailer.
There's so much
So,
nerd news.
100%. I love you calling out HBO and HBO waiting on dropping their trailer
Oh, yes.
30 minutes
Yes.
after.
Dude, so that
Amazon.
trailer
That
was
hilarious.
Like, hold it,
that trailer was
hold it.
primed the whole time. There's no way they just like, hey, cut it. He was like, I got some coke, let's do this, and then they just cut it up in like 29 minutes. No, that video, brilliant
They had it.
move. And guys,
at least
HBO is partnering with Disney. There are moves being made in the industry right now. This was a direct attack at Amazon, and now you can get a bundle with Disney, Hulu, and HBO. What we used to call back in the day, kids, cable. It's full circle, guys.
Did you hear that? Showtime, Netflix, and like I want to say it's Peacock are gonna like stream together here shortly.
Sony's
who
about to
wants
buy
Peacock
Paramount.
now? Because
Sony is about to make it interesting.
All they have is like all Peacock has is like what The Office now, maybe like that Poker Face show.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
So Peacock definitely is ahead on sports packaging. So I have Peacock literally for Premier League and rugby. So
Isn't Netflix going to get into the sports arena as well? No
yes,
pun intended?
actually, they announced today that on Christmas they are streaming a football game. I think it's between the Ravens and somebody else, but
Sorry,
they will have
Yeah.
they will
No.
have football on Netflix only. On Netflix only. It's not going to be streamed anywhere else. You have
Okay.
to watch Netflix.
I'll come back. Well,
Sorry, USFL.
is this all NFL or is this just this one game? Because I hate
So I think it's
the deconsolidation of football, right? It used to be on Sundays, and then there was one game on Monday. It was like a little dessert, a little tasty
Oh, it's
treat.
all over the place.
Now it's on a Thursday. Now it's on a Friday. Now it's in Europe. Now it's in Saudi Arabia. Now it's on Sunday mornings, Monday nights.
get to your
Like,
point-
what? I need a personal assistant just to let me know when the games are.
So Amazon has Thursday nights now. Netflix is going to get
that's
this
true.
special. But last year was super controversial because they had at least one, if not two, playoff matches that were exclusive to Peacock. Like you had to have Peacock to watch it, and it was a huge controversy.
The
So Peacock
subscription.
was like, "Hey, we had 400,000 people sign up for Peacock this week
In the
It's like, "Gee, I
second
wonder
quarter.
why."
The second quarter.
Yeah,
That's
So this gets back-
incredible.
it's some accountant somewhere trying to justify giving out shareholders several $1 million because they could bump up subscribers for a quarter.
Oh, I mean, Netflix was like $700 a share at one point. And guys, Netflix was not worth $700 a share. We were all watching Tiger King for free, basically, off of our parents' Netflix account during the lockdown.
Well, to get back to Rings of Power, Amazon is being very smart to not air this at the exact same time as House of the Dragon, which they did for their first season. Both those shows were released simultaneously. And at least they're waiting until after House of the Dragon's over before they release Rings of Power. They know that nobody wants to
HBO,
watch
this is
it.
on you. I call out HBO. They need to push back their release date.
So we never have to watch Rings of Power.
Yeah, they need to go. They need to go head to head against Rings of Power, 1-on-1, and just fucking beat this,
House of the Dragon
fantasy series down.
I think House of the Dragon, it wasn't my cup of tea, but I think it was like overpraised, mainly the fact that it was just better than Rings of Power,
So
and obviously it was better than the last season of
better
Game of
writing
Thrones.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
but
well,
compared to Rings of Power, it's a superior show by far.
I was watching the trailer, and I was thinking to myself, I've already forgotten 90% of what happened in this show.
And House of
or-
the Dragon.
In House of Dragons. I'm like, wait a second. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, the blues and the greens and this, yeah,
Blacks
okay,
and
and
greens.
this,
I
yeah.
don't
I was
know
like,
who's-
oh shit. I literally, I didn't like the series to begin with, as you heard from this podcast, and watching this trailer, I'm like trying to remind myself of what was happening. And I was like, oh yeah.
I told you to get over those black Targaryens, Matt. It's 2023. Representation matters, especially if you don't think about the implications that there are no black
they're,
Targaryens in the future.
They're not Targaryens. They're Valerians, right? They're from old Valeria.
Oh, that's a good point. Everything I said was a lie. No one's going to go back and check out our beautiful back catalog, but I was just gaslighting Matt. He didn't like the show based on all the awful writing.
Yeah, but everyone's like kissing the House of the Dragon trailer's ass right now, and they're just shitting on Rings of Power right now. Like,
Dude, we're so tribal. It's me versus you in every fight we can get our bloody hands on, which is kind of how it feels in X-Men right now.
Yes.
Hey, X-Men.
Are we segueing? The third segue is the third segue is the tribe, baby. Let's do this. All right. Tolerance is Extinction Part 2. Well, guys, we missed you last week. We really missed you, the fans, last week. We recorded on Sunday. Sunday was Mother's Day. And there's nothing more important than taking your mother out. Go celebrate your mother. You only got one of them. And then you get to make a couple of them if you're lucky. Let's get, unless you're Cable, who's got two moms now, basically. Oh wait, Madeline's dead. One mom again. Womp womp. What you guys think?
I mean, the first part, what happened? Actually, it was part 2.
Yeah, Tolerance is Extinction Part 2.
It did that really famous scene where Magneto takes out Logan's adamantium skeleton. And then, it's basically like Magneto's like knocked out all the Prime Sentinels, and if he returns Earth's power or whatever, then the Prime Sentinels will go back online, and we can't do that. So we gotta like take out Bastion while he's sort of can't communicate with them. So there's like they split the narrative into two. Like half the team is going after Magneto, their half's going after Bastion.
Yeah.
And
Big old A and B plots.
Yep. So
but we
yeah,
what do you guys think?
It was great.
Do you guys think did we stick the landing? Let's go around the table.
I think so. I mean, they definitely. I mean, obviously, in the last episode, Wolverine didn't do anything, which is pretty much par for the course this season. But they gave him a lot to do the last two episodes. So, like, they pulled out a skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
Did he get sent in time? Was he pushed forward in time? I forgot. Like, because like half the team went to like
check our notes.
In the future, the other went to the past. Obviously, Apocalypse is going to be a major factor.
Oh, spoiler! We're using
week.
his in canon name at the moment.
Oh, in Sabanur, but he was called Apocalypse in the old.
In Sabanur, yeah. Yeah, but like
so in the comics, he's
Well, yeah, new listeners who are like, "Who's in Sabanur? Who is Mother Ascani?" Right? Like, we were gonna get into it all. We were gonna talk about how. Nathan, we were going to explain all of Days of Future Past, right? But like, we were going to do it. We were going to do it later on in episode 3. You were just like ripping out spoilers, whole 60 minutes ahead of schedule.
Just watched it, so like, I want to talk about like when it's fresh.
Well, yeah, let's talk about Extinction Part 2 then.
So Part 2,
yeah,
what I really love is in the 90s we had the split with X-Men Blue versus X-Men Gold. So you had Uncanny X-Men and regular X-Men. Mm-hmm. And right from the bat, Storm and her crew, which I forget which one was blue and which one was gold, go to do this mission while the other guys go to this mission. And it's the acknowledgement of the split of the team, which I really love the fan service there, because that is something that happened in the comics in the 90s.
It's good to divide and conquer. What do you guys think about Charles's explanation for
being away,
putting Magneto in charge of the school instead of Scott? Because I kind of like that.
I totally forgot his reason. Although it was in the comics.
He said Claremont. He said he didn't want to burden Scott and Jean with the responsibilities of running the school.
Pretty stupid explanation. I mean, pretty sure Storm or Beast could also have run the school if
Beast is the obvious choice. We're going to talk about it, Max. I agree with you here. The writing gets really bad, but the animation gets so LSD mind-blowingly good. Like, we'll get into it.
Well, there was no Prime Sentinels this episode, right? Or the part 2. It was like basically they were all turned off, and I guess Bastion. Oh yeah, they're fighting Bastion on Genosha. Where were they at? Which island?
It's not Genosha.
Was it Muir Island or which?
So they go to Muir Island because it's the only thing. No, yeah, Galapagos Islands is where they're going to. They go to Muir Island because they have the technology from Sharia Empire. I said Sharia. That's huge.
They have a collar. They have a collar for Bastion, right?
They do.
They have the collar on Bastion. A plot device.
Here's my question.
Device to help the plot.
Here's my question. They have Rogue. Why can't Rogue just send like a giant tsunami and wipe out that whole island?
You mean Storm?
Sorry, Storm. Yeah, they have Storm. Why can't they just wipe? Why can't they just use
Rogue
Storm?
Touches Storm,
that's a good point, right? But like they have
got the back.
They have Storm. Why can't they just use Storm to send in like first off a hurricane could trust me from Florida? I'll tell you, a hurricane can take out the whole island. A tsunami, right? A Jewish space laser. These are all excellent things you could use. Get on the internet.
The Galapagos are in the Pacific, right? So wouldn't it be a typhoon?
They have tsunamis in the. Sure, whatever. Fine. She calls in a typhoon.
Weather event.
Sorry. It's just joking.
There's typhoon season, but I think you can also have tsunamis. I mean, Japan's in the Pacific. They have tsunamis too.
Yep.
Have you guys heard of Russia's Poseidon torpedo? Have you guys heard about this?
Oh, it's like a nuke that blows up underwater.
Yeah, 1,000-foot wave. You can have a tsunami anywhere in the world at that point, Matt.
Yikes!
Yeah, scary stuff. So, just imagine 1,000. Just looking up, straight up, and having to keep looking up and keep looking up, and there's 1,000-foot wave. Like, dude, I don't know if I'm shitting my pants or my heart gives out first. I don't know what happens. But that has to be one of the scariest, like, possible things that a human being could ever see.
I have seen Deep Impact, so I've seen the ending of that movie, where they're on the beach in the 1,000-foot.
What happens?
Also, The Day After Tomorrow, with the 1,000-foot tsunami.
The Day After Tomorrow is scary. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good one. Especially
So
it was
what
like
was the-
2011.
Yeah. So what'd y'all think of the Mr. Sinister / Gene fight? I mean, apparently he can like pelt himself into a puddle. Now.
So
I mean,
I love how they we kind of have forgotten about Mr. Sinister, and he's like
Yeah.
reasserting himself again. And you keep forgetting about he's like one of the main villains of this season, because he's always in the background, and it's just really well written, because as a viewer you keep forgetting about him, and then he just appears and takes over cable.
I didn't really
Yeah.
like this two main villain approach. I would have preferred like a season 1 where the main bad guy is Sinister,
Indeed.
and then you find out at the end that he's only a pawn working for Bastion, and then season 2 is fighting Bastion. I know that's very 1990s cartoon like,
Well, I
that you
wish
fight
they
one
introduced
big
Bastion.
bad guy one season, and then at the very end you find out he's only a little pawn in a big fish, or a little fish in a big pond. But
well,
Go
yeah,
on.
Bastion made sense though. Bastion was like, because they introduced the Sentinels in the first episode, so I mean, like Bastion being like the ultimate Sentinel. until
I love the
Nimrod comes
story.
around.
I loved
So
where the story
that
went.
made sense. But yeah, they should have like maybe in reverse of what you said, Major. They should have held off
No.
on Sinister, or maybe Sinister was helping Bastion, and they could develop Sinister more in season 2 if they wanted to use him.
Completely disagree, because what I loved about
Go
this
for it.
season from like episode 3 is that you had Storm fighting her boss, you had Sinister involved,
The
you
adversary.
had Mojo come in, you had Bastion.
Let's forget about the Mojo episode.
Yep. So you had, what I really loved mid-season was you had this idea of they're a team, but they're being drawn away from each other because of their fights with major villains. But in the end, they come together as a team to fight all these major villains. So I think it's really well written that they did have this many major villains, and this gave you a sense of, like in episode 3, 4, 5, the sense of despair. Like, the team is never going to survive this. They're not going to. There's no cohesion here. They're all like just kind of screwed. And in the end, they do come together to defeat everybody, which of course is very 90s America. But
How did you feel about Sinister when he was had all the youths taken out of him by Gene? That was sort of weird.
So it's
That's
weird.
a bow wow.
I hated how. No, it's not by Gene. It's by Phoenix. But anyways,
dude, she just
I
one-shotted the entire season.
yeah,
Dude, just
I
the
hate
MacGuffin
Morph.
of MacGuffins. Sorry, go on.
I hate Morph. I've always hated Morph. And that scene where he's like, "What do I look like?" And then he's like, "You look like." I was like, "God damn."
I can't
What-
tell
why
a
would he-
difference.
And doesn't like Morph hate Mr. Sinister anyway? So why did Mr. Sinister even like go to him to? Because in season 2 of X-Men, like he actually kidnaps Morph, and like makes him evil, and then so it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, what do I look like? That seemed a bit strange. They just had to get Morph something to do because they have no idea what to do with this character. He's just there.
Speaking of Morph,
Yeah, go ahead.
he's there.
2023.
He's literally there to make cameos because he's Hulk. He's
Mr. Fantastic, yeah.
Reed Richards.
Oh, was he Mr. Fantastic? I have in my notes. I was like, what is Mr. Fantastic doing in here?
Yeah.
Like, where did he
There's a
come
scene
from?
where the nukes initially hit the asteroid, and he's holding on.
Yeah,
as,
I did a double take. And I was like, wait, when did Mr. Fantastic show up? But you're right, Morph is just a cameo machine. Also, speaking of, well, not
Speaking of cameos,
Oh yeah.
how many cameos did you spot? Because I love that everybody misses the fact that there's Peter Parker and Mary Jane
I had to go back
watching
and rewatch
the
that. Yeah.
news.
I
There's
missed
the
that.
dialogue,
Oh,
There's
yeah, I
like
missed
Flash
that.
Thompson. Flash Thompson too.
there's like 50 different Daredevil. You have like 50 different
Wow.
characters
I
and
missed
very
the
very minor
90s.
characters.
The 90s Iron Man was there.
Yep.
Captain America,
Mhm.
obviously. Cloak and Dagger, were they in any like Marvel shows in the 90s? I can't remember them. And
maybe
also
one,
we
but
got-
I don't remember one.
I don't remember Cloak and Dagger being anything,
R-
although I haven't seen like,
Jamie,
any Fantastic
Rob, you want to
Four.
look that up?
And also, Black Panther was T'Chaka, not T'Challa.
So
Was
you
it
had
because
If what was
Cloak and Dagger.
T'Chaka. I'm
Cloak and
like,
Dagger was in the
is it
90s
because
shows.
they can't use T'Challa anymore because of
No,
Chadwick
because it's a
Boseman?
different timeline. Because it's the 90s.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
still.
But you also
his
had
dad was in charge.
But
you have Miracle.
Tony
you have,
Stark, that makes no sense. Because
Yeah,
like
you
if
have-
T'Chaka's the Black Panther, but Tony Stark's still Iron Man.
Well, Tony
and,
Stark was
Peter
Iron Man
Parker's
in the
still Spider-Man.
90s. And Peter Parker was also Spider-Man in the 90s.
But T'Challa wasn't was it Black Panther in the 90s? I thought like he was.
Well, let's
He's in the
revert.
Fantastic Four
Let's
section.
revert back to the 1990s Black Panther
Fantastic Four,
animated series.
I think that was T'Challa. At least T'Challa's always been the Black Panther.
So-
But
Well,
anyways,
all
back to
right,
the
you
point
hear
with
that,
his
Bo
cameos.
DeMayo? Forrest thinks Bo DeMayo is wrong on this. He's calling you out, Bo DeMayo. Forrest
our
thinks you got your
Lord and
canon
Savior,
wrong.
Bo DeMayo.
Yeah, get fucked, Bo.
In these cameos,
Shocker.
what I love is they're not just Easter eggs; they're potential plot points. Like the fact that they keep showing Silver Samurai is like, hey, we can do something with Wolverine as a side quest in next season.
He's got
You
his
know, hey-
adamantium. He's got his adamantium skeleton back.
Yep, like
Oh,
because in the '90s,
Deathstrike.
remember too, Magneto removes his adamantium and he becomes like it's like a wooden, like some weird storyline. It's not wooden. I forget what it is, but he doesn't have his adamantium anymore.
All right, I just want
Um,
to tell you, Bo DeMayo does his homework. Robbie, you want to fill the audience in on what you just found out?
Oh, from about the Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, if there were any 90s animated TV shows.
Yeah, it mentions about the appearance in X-Men '97. Said they weren't exactly stars of their own '90s TV show. So,
Like Ghost Rider.
yeah.
But
Phantom
were they, like,
Memories?
were they in Fantastic Four?
I'm
or
still
like,
confused to where Grok got the
Nothing.
the Fox Kids thing. That it even asked like what did it air on, and that's what it came up with. But maybe that was on the little fan wiki somewhere too, or something.
I mean, I
But it
have
was
nothing against
getting
Cloak
the
and
info
Dagger.
from.
I mean, I need to watch their show on Hulu, live action one. But
Do
I don't
needs
think
a
they were in the
strong
90s.
word. We have a lot to catch up on. Here's my question: the Sentinels go after Daredevil. He's not a mutant. He was a normal human. He got blinded by some toxins, which, fun fact, if you didn't know, also created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was just pausing there for all the boyfriends in the car who went to impress their girlfriends. Thank you for forcing them to listen to this podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is heavily influenced by Frank Miller's Daredevil.
I mean, no, literally
Daredevil-
influence. It
Daredevil
dripped down.
universe.
It dripped down the water crate or whatever, and then that's what
Maybe in
Turtles.
like a Marvel Image crossover or IDW crossover.
No,
Yeah,
they're
so-
the same universe.
No,
100%
it's
same universe.
canon. It's canon, brother. Check it
Yep,
out.
yep.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you're wrong, Major, because they recently redid the storyline
Well,
I think
I'm
this month,
so old.
where it's like Donatello is responsible for their mutation somehow. I
Okay.
have not actually read the comic yet, but they're retconning it now because they hit all of us fanboys pointing out that this is all connected.
They're like, we don't own all these properties, so let's go ahead and disconnect these universes.
The
So,
lawyers
really-
got rid
really
of
quick,
everything.
So we have this whole plot line in X-Men '97 at the end where Charles Xavier, he goes into Magneto's mind and like it's like this profound invasion and kind of like makes Professor Xavier kind of evil to kind of like do the ends justify the means, and takes over Magneto's mind to
Free will.
restore the power to the Earth. But as a fan of the comics, and I don't know how much you've read of the '90s comics, was anybody else upset? I really, 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 really thought that we would see Onslaught come out.
I think
in
they're
this.
teasing him.
He's
I think
coming.
they're teasing
He's
him.
Onslaught's coming.
Like,
Now,
is
as
he
a
coming
podcast-
now?
as a
are we gonna see
podcast-
it next season?
as a podcast, do we want to say what Onslaught is? All right. If you don't want to know,
Yeah.
I feel strongly that we're gonna get Apocalypse and Onslaught, right? Like, dude, season one
Apocalypse.
went so effing hard to the paint, okay, Bo DeMayo? And I know you wrote season 2 before you got your ass canned, okay? So yeah, I think Onslaught's coming. So I would say 65% confidence level. So if you don't want to know any spoilers, skip ahead. We have timestamps down below. But before we go any further, Onslaught is maybe one of the coolest ideas and concepts in X-Men. So
really, because like
I don't
everyone
want
hated it in the '90s.
No, the concept, not the execution, the concept. So I don't want Matt to braze over this. If you could elaborate a little bit for the fans.
So Onslaught, as I recall, when Charles Xavier goes into Magneto's mind, they create some kind of third party, this third.
He's the
kind of
bastard son of Professor X and Magneto, basically.
So
Charles, it's a combination of the two, but it's super evil. It's
it's really convoluted too.
It's like this id versus ego, idea in a villain where it's.
Well, so from what I understand, Charles consumes Magneto's dark side, and from that becomes Onslaught. The concept himself is very cool, right? Very cool.
It was like basically like by the mid '90s, X-Men was like so convoluted, and then like the Marvel editors was like, how can we make this even more complicated? And then Onslaught happened, and then he killed like all the Avengers. He killed the Fantastic Four, and so basically that's where we get the Thunderbolts. That's where we get I think Marvel Reborn, which was a huge failure.
Well,
basically, it was the attempt to do Ultimate Universe. So
that's what happens when you go from marijuana to accelerant drugs like speed and methamphetamines.
So Onslaught was great in the '90s for introducing these very minor teams. These, you have this writing done like, hey, these big guys aren't selling comics anymore, so let's come up with. It was a great way for Marvel to throw shit at the wall and see what stuck.
See what happens.
And so like Onslaught kills a lot of major characters, so now we have to have all these minor teams team up, and it was a great idea, and I love the idea behind Onslaught, but the execution in the '90s was, and if you see some of the actual art, it's like comically bad. I will defend Liefeld, all day, but some of his shit was bad.
Yeah.
Liefeld? Liefeld? Is that Liefeld?
Onslaught. Liefeld, yeah. Because he did like a Captain America series where like the infamous picture where like Captain America has like this gigantic chest and in proportionate other features, physical features. So yeah, it was not good. But Onslaught could work. So I guess we're on the third part. What do y'all feel about Cyclops offering Bastion to join the team, even though he's not really a mutant?
I love it.
I didn't really get that story.
Always preach peace. Okay, so no, Bastion is a mutant. Bastion's a technopath, right? They have telepaths like his smoking hot ginger. He was born a mutant. He was born a technopath.
Because his dad was infected with the technovirus, and then he was born with it. So
I don't recall seeing him have any powers before. I mean, I guess he was born before. Like his dad got infected with the techno-organic virus before he was born.
Probably because you're not Michael Jackson, so you didn't probably watch a lot of kids' childhoods. Okay, I don't blame you for not seeing.
Well, my point being, like, if he was born and then got infected with the techno-organic virus. And it was established, but like from what I understand, he was born a Sentinel, he wasn't born a mutant. I think like maybe Professor X thought he was a mutant because he had like technopathic abilities, but that was because of the virus.
Dude, Professor X is kind of an idiot. He's kind of a low-key dumbass. So yeah, I can see him actually going to like David Blaine and being like, "Are you a mutant? Do you want to go to my school?" And then David's like, "No, this is for show. These are just
Donald Trump's a mutant because he has orange skin, not regular skin. You must be a mutant." What would Trump's X-Men name be, y'all?
Trump.
Cheeto Benito.
Oh,
Um,
do you not
there we go.
understand the branding power behind Trump? Do you don't think Trump wouldn't take over the X Mansion and try to name it Trump Mansion or Trump Tower? Like, you don't think this would?
T-Men.
You don't think this
Name on
would be
it
the?
now.
Yeah, it would be the T-Men by the end of season 3. Do you not understand? Like, oh, do you think the costumes had gold beforehand? Guys, I'm talking all gold suits, right? Not blue with gold. We're talking gold with blue.
T-Men, the two teams are T-Men Gold and T-Men Golder.
Goldfinger. That'd be the arch
Then
nemesis.
T-Men Goldest. And then the T-Golds.
See, look at that. You're over
T-Force.
here. You're over here bashing X-Men's 90 writing, and it only took you 10 seconds for you to
come up with something
degrade.
better, yeah.
Degrade. No. You took something great and you degraded it all the way back down to the ground. At least it took Kirby 40 years.
Speaking of the writing for this series, I really love it because they are introducing the idea in the Marvel universe right now, which will eventually introduce the X-Men into like movie franchises and TV franchises, because you have this kind of like human with special soldier powers like Captain America or Iron Man, or like a freak accident happens, Hulk, existing now in a universe with mutants. So it's a really great way, and I love how this TV series is introducing how we're going to introduce mutants into the Marvel universe. And I think it's funny how Disney's decided this is the way we're going to introduce it.
Do you know that this is how Disney's going to introduce it? Or is that still wishful thinking? Have I missed a headline? Because I'm not so sure Marvel's going to stick the landing on this.
It would be a fucking huge failure. A huge failure if they did not use this TV show to introduce mutants, because they have set it up. They have 100% set it up in a natural way, with the different universes. We already have the multiverse, blah blah blah. But this show has done more to set up the introduction of mutants in the Marvel universe that have been not happening before, because we have this idea of mutants versus people who have these powers through an accident or something happens.
Wait, is this Doctor Strange 3? Do you think Doctor Strange, at the end of Doctor Strange 2, him and that woman, they do a little X, they cut a little X into the reality, and they're going to go fight whatever, when the galaxies collide. It's been years since I've watched an MCU movie. Is this what, are they going into the X-Men 97, will probably be the X-Men 99 universe at that point? Are they going to go grab some X-Men and bring them back into the
and also the Fantastic Four? And also the Fantastic Four, because their movies are so
Robbie, that's a good point.
Universe.
Is next season called X-Men 98?
98.
Oh.
Well, so no, like
it's
the
gonna be
thing is,
X-Men. It's gonna be X-Men 3, 8, 9, 7 AD.
Well, so I really feel though that you're gonna have this kind of slow introduction of, once again, Fantastic Four. People travel here, accident happens, and now they have super abilities versus actual mutants. And I really feel this show and Deadpool, unfortunately, which I love Deadpool, and I think it's almost comically bad that this is how we jump universes and introduce mutants to the Marvel universe. I feel like there was a better way to do it. But I feel the next phase is going to be half regular human beings, half mutants, and we're going to slowly like put it into like a soup and let it boil until something happens.
I wish, but like I feel like, I mean, Kamala Khan, isn't she a mutant? And I feel like they've been hinting at it.
No, she's a human that had an accident and then got special powers.
Oh, sorry, not Kamala Khan. Who is the wonderful, amazing Pakistani girl we watched? Miss Marvel. Yeah, that's it. Who is she?
That's Kamala Khan.
Is that Kamala Khan? Okay, yeah. Well, no. So yeah, but they rewrote it.
Well, that's the other thing too.
At the end of the season, at the end of the season, they were like, "Oh, hey, I got your blood work back because I'm a creepy boy, and I was checking on your blood, and it turns out you're a mutant." And in the background, it's like,
if you really bend the definition of mutant, bend it so that it breaks and you duct tape it back together, then Kamala Khan's a mutant. So you really gotta bend the definition though. So
I mean, if Marvel's not
wait.
being the definition, what have they been doing for the last 3 years?
Right.
Breaking my heart.
Well, I will say this really quick before we
Move on.
finalize everything. I loved the last 10 minutes of the episode of episode 3. There is a huge Easter egg for Days of Future Past, which I'm excited about, and they definitely are going to do next season, with the wall with all of the off-world presumed dead. And Days of Future Past was this literally only two comics, and it is still to this day the defining moment of X-Men, and I really hope we get that next season.
But they did it. They did Days of Future Past the first season of the old cartoon though.
I know, but I'm almost wondering if they're gonna redo it.
They did the Phoenix Saga. They did the Dark Phoenix Saga, and then they did the Rebirth Saga in the X-Men series. So they will go back to the same well.
They did the Phalanx Covenant.
Whatever, yeah.
Yep, 100%.
They do the Brood.
They've done all these, but like nothing says you can't revisit it. And with the way the Marvel Universe works, you can totally revisit it from a different perspective. And having Bishop there is super exciting.
Bishop's back though.
Bishop shows up. Remember? He shows up. He talks to
Forge.
Forge.
Yep. Because Forge was the one who sent him back in time in the first season.
Yep.
So like he's like, why do you act like we're friends? He's like, we are friends. Looks at the camera, winks.
We'll become best friends here pretty soon. All right, so let's talk about what we teased the midpoint of this episode. Team A or Team B. Well, I don't know how you want to call it, right? Half the team goes to the past.
Blue and gold.
Blue and gold. Blue goes to Egypt, 3000 BC. Gold goes to the future,
ancient
3960 AD. So we got Magneto, Xavier, Beast, Rogue, and Nightcrawler waking up in Egypt 3000 BC, where they meet Anatar. I'm kidding. That's a Ring of Powers reference.
His name was.
No, it's in Sabanur, which. All right, so get ready for the spoilers. We're actually going to give you a second to skip ahead for this. It's Apocalypse. It's Apocalypse, guys. We fucking knew it was Apocalypse. We were saying it's Apocalypse. Apocalypse is also. Why is Apocalypse sexy? Why are all these characters so hot? The male characters, exclusively the male characters. That's just my. I mean, I know why.
Apocalypse's hair.
Throw some muscle.
It is the hair, dear Lord.
So now we know why I became evil.
Apocalypse is very pale for an Egyptian. Just saying.
Is it because white people are the devil?
Well, Apocalypse has.
It's because white people are the worst. Is that what you're hinting at, Matt?
Apocalypse is gray. He's not white.
Is this the representation you're looking for from Oscar Isaac?
Yeah, he was Guatemalan, not Egyptian either. He also wasn't Egyptian for Moon Knight, so I don't know why the director was complaining about Black Adam. That was so strange. But that was like 3 years ago. If the
listeners want to learn more.
So Matt, what do you think that giant gold over the pyramids that they saw?
Big dome thing?
Yeah, the big giant golden dome. Yeah. Is that,
I saw that and I'm like, I have to research this because I don't fucking remember this shit at all.
I'm thinking Kang, because we know Ramatut is like originally a Fantastic Four villain who was like in ancient Egypt. And I think Ramatut and Apocalypse have history, so it could be Kang.
You can't go from two big villains in season 1 to one big villain. You have to at least keep the intensity or go bigger, right? Spider-Man taught us that. You go from 2 villains to 3 villains to 5 villains.
You know who I'm hoping for?
Who?
Mephisto.
Yeah, that's coming.
Guys, he was around. He was like immortal, so I think.
I really hate to tell you this. It's actually a Dyson sphere. The Anunnaki are coming down, and X-Men 97 season 2 is actually just going to be Ancient Aliens season 21, co-sponsored with the History Channel.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, excellent season. I guess next season 2 is gonna premiere next year.
Apocalypse finally confirmed. I told you guys I wasn't crazy. I told you I saw him in the little micro frames throughout the season. I told you he was coming.
Subliminal Apocalypse.
And he's finally here.
When you
Well,
talked about he
saw-
popped up for like a frame.
A literal frame, dude. I like go back. I was like, wait, did I just like hallucinate or something? And I was like, no, this is definitely. It was like flash, and then boom, gone. I wish I could
Previous episode.
I wish I could put it on the podcast, but Disney doesn't give us, doesn't send us the episodes yet. Feel free to. I'd love to help you out, Disney. Guys, we loved X-Men. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 98%, and I am not disagreeing with it.
Yeah, we also saw Apocalypse
really
in the mid-credit season. The mid-credits, we saw Apocalypse for a second.
Yep.
You think Gambit's gonna come back?
Yeah, Gambit confirmed, 100%. Yeah, Rogue,
they're gonna go to
how they're gonna bring him back with them.
They're gonna go to Earth. Yeah. They're just gonna jump to another plane. So.
Ooh, who was that?
Grab another Gambit.
Are we gonna get Cyclops? Who's the?
We saw Psylocke for a second, I think.
No, the sexy girl from X-Men Apocalypse. With
she was in the episode.
Yeah, Cyclops. Oh, okay. Oh, we did see her.
Yeah, she was in the episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
So many cameos.
She also has a very convoluted backstory. Like basically, she's Asian, but she's really a white person Asian's body.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson.
Yes,
she's the Major.
Oh yeah, so yeah, she's Psylocke is a white woman, Captain Britain's sister, who is in who took over an Asian woman's body. So yeah, good luck with that, Disney Plus.
Anyways, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, the first 2 episodes, I was really, really worried, and you can listen back to the podcast.
It did really pick up.
I was really thought the first 2 episodes they were playing on our nostalgia, and this was going to be a horrible season. I was really worried, but I will say, overall, at the end, I am extremely happy, and I'm looking forward to this being renewed. I think it's already been renewed, and I really enjoyed the writing and how subtle it was in the beginning, and I didn't get it. So, good job, X-Men.
I would say episode 5 and onward were pretty solid. I mean, the first 4 episodes was a little shaky, like you said, Matt. I mean, episode 4 with Mojo was hard.
So garbage, but... episode 4 with Mojo, and then they started the Storm storyline, which I was like, okay, maybe this will be the saving, but it was like really kind of. And the fact that they had a split episode, I was just like,
not a great idea. But I think if they put the Storm episode all together, it would have been better. It would have served both Storm better. Because I thought, when I saw the adversaries, oh, they're really diving deep into the lore. But they just ruined it with that Mojo bullshit. But yeah, episode 5 with the Genosha massacre onward, it was, I think it was smooth sailing from there. So yeah. Looking forward to more. We'll see if Bo DeMayo's reinstated. I mean, he must have had to do something really bad to get fired just before the show.
Is it though?
I mean, he probably said something bad about Harvey Weinstein, and that he didn't actually belong in jail,
or something positive about Harvey Weinstein.
He was probably like, Harvey Weinstein didn't do it, and then the judge was like, what? And now they've reopened Harvey Weinstein's case. So congratulations, Bo DeMayo. This is. Justice is being served at your hand. No, I think this might be if we haven't found out by now, as salacious as Hollywood is, all the rumors, the gossip. If we haven't found out by now, this might just be a giant nothing burger. This might be amazing propaganda, right? Because if he's written 2 seasons and you fire him a week before your season premiere, and this is the best Marvel content you've put out on the big or small screen in literally years, then you might want to pull a dirty little publicity stunt to try to drum up some hype, right? And guys, we all know this. Well, maybe some of you guys don't. If you're not, hey, the Manosphere is a toxic place online. But there's some really good influences, and there's some really fun videos. But for those who don't know, OnlyFans girls will go on these Red Pill podcasts and get, quote unquote, digged down logically by these men who are talking about how they're throwing their lives away by being 304s at the age of 18 or 19. And it's a trade-off. These guys get views, and these girls in return get exposure. So, Bo DeMayo is let's just say, works out as hard as he reads his X-Men comic books. Okay, so his OnlyFans got massive exposure from this firing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not working on season 3, and he won't be back for season 3. Call it here.
Well, if Disney doesn't hire him, Warner Brothers will, because they do not give a shit. If you do something successful, they will.
I mean, James
hire
Gunn.
you on the
How
spot.
is James Gunn not already? If I was James Gunn, I would have hired Bo DeMayo after episode 3.
Yeah. So I mean, unless it like comes out that like he literally like beat someone up or molested someone, I mean,
On his, but who posts that on your OnlyFans? You don't make this great season of content and then decide to put out such shitty content on your OnlyFans. You don't have such bad decision making skills.
If you have to subscribe to his OnlyFans just to watch season 2, you know, that would be a massive exposure right there.
I mean, I would.
So I pirate.
Would you, Robbie? Would you? I would. $4.99 a month. That's cheaper than Disney Plus. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't need to see the dicks. Just give me the X-Men content. Yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem.
All right. I think that's everything.
Speaking of seeing the dicks, we really appreciate you watching this episode, guys. You can find us on YouTube at Zeitgeist Zealots. On Instagram, we're at Zeitgeist Zealots. And then on X and TikTok, Z Zealots Podcast. That is plural, Z Zealots Podcast. On X, if you want to talk to us. The best way to get a hold of us, though, is through the comment section here on YouTube. And the reviews, wherever you collect your podcast, we would love a 5-star review. It really does wonders for the podcast. Word of mouth is the absolute best way to spread the news, especially since I got a newborn. I'm trying to make shorts as much as I can to hit the algorithm. But in the meantime, this baby's got to eat. So I got to ask you one favor, and if you really liked the episode, give it a thumbs up. Tell someone about it. That'd be fantastic. But really, just leave a comment down below. Comment LOL. Comment doing this for the engagement. Comment screw the algorithm. Or you could tell us how great season 1 of X-Men was. And I guess this is a question for the podcast and for the fans if you want to comment down below. What do we do next week? Should we rewatch this bundle of joy? Because I feel like if we took a week and we rewatch all of X-Men together, it's only 10 episodes, guys. That could be really delicious. That could be a really fun thing to go over and just talk about as a whole how we thought the actual season was.
I think
we
got like a full month until House of Dragon, right?
Right. So we gotta do that. We could do Miss Marvel. We could do Captain.
Oh gosh, please no.
We can do no. You say that. That's just gonna make the people vote Captain Marvel.
We could watch the old
Aquaman
anime series.
Aquaman 2. We could do Aquaman 2. There's a lot of movies. Madam Web on Netflix now. So, guys, we have a whole month worth of content.
No.
We just need you.
No.
And that's how you get Madam Web next week. Vote down below.
We can survive Madam Web.
But can we survive you not liking this video? Yes, we can. Will the channel? Maybe. Maybe not. It's really important, guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around, and thanks for listening. Thank you, Bo DeMayo, for restoring just a tiny bit of faith this man has in Marvel.
So we'll anxiously await season 2 and see where the story goes. But yeah, this was overall entertaining television, and we hope to see more. So
10 out of
that's
10.
our show.
Major.
I'm Robbie.
Matt.
Thanks for listening. Y'all the best.
Y'all are the best.
Yeah.